you like being questioned? Do you like being challenged? Do you look at it as an attack that makes you defensive, or do you use it as a learning opportunity? The landscape of healthcare has been evolving rapidly and has been becoming much more diverse. Whilst you're still a source of knowledge, expertise, and an authority figure with patients, expecting them to follow orders is very much a thing of the past these days. Patients are much more aware, informed, and are no longer oblivious to outdated methods and practices in the field of medicine and healthcare. What we're going to do is cover how to handle and get better at when your patients challenge you and question your practices and methods as a healthcare professional. My channel, everybody. Thank you very much for joining me every week, for watching these videos, and for the feedback and the comments and the views. My name is Shweta. I'm the founder of Healthy Dynamics. We are a coaching practice that helps healthcare professionals from English as a second language background. So whether you speak Finnish or Norwegian or Swedish or German or French or say even Arabic or Spanish or any of the languages, that's your first language. You do speak a little bit of English, you speak it reasonably well, and you're a healthcare professional who works in a field that involves daily work with patients, and you want to get better at how to communicate and relate with them, you've absolutely come to the right place. And that's essentially what this channel and this platform is all about. I share with you weekly strategies on how you can improve your communication with your patients in order to build trust, influence, and authority with them, in order to give them the best experience, build impact, and receive referrals, testimonials, and feedback. So, like I mentioned in the very beginning of the video, nowadays people are much more informed and aware of not only outdated health practices that usually, a lot of textbook warriors or people who have been practicing medicine in a long time, and they are still using those old methods. People these days are not really going to take that on board without actually questioning and challenging what the credentials or the credibility is. And I'm not ignoring the fact that a lot of people go on social media pages like TikTok, Reddit, and Instagram and everything, and use that as a reliable source. And yes, there are a lot of healthcare professionals who have accounts there, and I follow quite a few of them, and I do encourage a lot of my clients to also start social media channels to do the same thing, to share their knowledge with their clients and patients. It is important that you also tell them that the source that they are quoting from is a reliable and accurate source. Now, let's sort of go back to this question of this concept of being questioned and being challenged. So a little bit about me. So I was one of the first and the few people in my family to absolutely defy any form of conformity. So I was brought up in an environment which was very strict on religious norms, social norms, cultural norms, and gender norms. If you're familiar with the Southern Asian culture, you'll know what I'm talking about. On top of that, I also came from a family of either academics or white-collar professionals. So anything less than that was not acceptable, and it was completely frowned upon. And the other thing that I was very much indoctrinated into from a young child was that you have to work relentlessly, you have to hustle, and you have to work twice as hard as white people to be half as good as them. And I really vocalized and opened up and challenged and questioned these very outdated beliefs and lifestyles and values. So in many ways, I became the black sheep of the family, not just my family, but also the Southern Asian community abroad, and also even in my friends group, I'm very much the black sheep for this reason. And that's exactly why I got it tattooed. I don't know if you can see that, but yeah, it's right here. So, but anyway, so I never held back in, even at workplaces when I started working, I never held back in speaking my mind even in those places. So when I saw something or experienced something that just did not sit right with me, I would not keep quiet about it, and I would actually vocalize it and speak up and and challenge a lot of people and question their methods and practices. And it was for the same reason, and it also applied to when I worked with healthcare professionals who just could not see beyond the bubble of what they were taught in their training and what they have used on every single patient. That is what they were using on me as well, even though my challenges were unique, my conditions were very different to the others. And that is the reason why I fired my psychiatrist and also many GPs over the years for that reason. Now, this is not to belittle anybody who uses those types of approaches. If you are happy with that and your patients are happy with that, well and good, no issues with that. But sometimes, and quite often nowadays, people don't just want to be the type of more passive and just think that, okay, my doctor is recommending this, so I'm just going to follow that. My physiotherapist is saying this, so I'm just going to blindly do that. They will come back with some bit of information that they have found somewhere, whether it's on social media, whether it's an article, whether it's a blog post or YouTube channel or anything like that. Expect that quite often. And this is not an opportunity for you to defend yourself or attack your patients. Now, that's something that you should never be doing. But you can actually navigate through this space in a much more constructive, productive, and more importantly, collaborative way when you're working with your patients. And also, you need to take this as a learning experience, because there may be a lot of gaps and blind spots in your knowledge and experience that you are probably not aware of. And opening your mind and eyes to these concepts would really make you a much more trustworthy, much more open-minded, and a much more credible healthcare professional. So I'm just going to go into some of the ways in which you can handle or should be able to handle when your patients try to question or challenge your methods, your expertise, and your practice. So the first thing I would say is that try not to shut them down or gaslight them or get defensive. So say, for example, one of the things that I very much advocated for this year was to change my medication for my, and I've spoken about this before many times, changed my medication for my anxiety. And I was on the same medication for almost over a decade, and I wanted to come off it absolutely. And when I tried to do this, adopt this method with my former psychiatrist, he just never took it well. He was very much that, you have to take this medication. There's no way you're going to get better without it, and you're going to have to live with this anxiety. Now that I'm in a much better place and I'm able to manage my anxiety in better, less, more holistic methods, I want to now get off that medication. So fortunately, I did not have to go, and this is one of the many reasons why I got rid of my then psychiatrist, because he would just get very defensive and he would just take everything that I had to say, every bit of feedback that I was giving him as a personal attack. Now, fortunately, in my instance, now I just have to go do this with the help of my GP. Even though it's also a new experience for her, she was quite happy to take it on board. And even though she said to me that she's never done this before, she was quite happy to give this a go and sort of see what she can learn from it. And I just got off a consultation with her this afternoon, and she was, she asked all the right questions, and she was very happy for me to, not only for me to come off it, with a slow period of time, but also if I want to cease it or go into something completely different, she was more than happy to support me with that. And that's kind of how you should be able to do it. Now, similarly, if you're, say, a physiotherapist and you are recommending one of your clients to do a specific type of exercise, and they can say to you that I've been following this fitness influencer on TikTok or Instagram or something like that, and they are saying that this is very good. I saw a video of them recommending this exercise if you have this type of injury. If you're in that situation, don't get defensive and don't try to attack your client and don't try to shut down what they have to say, which goes very well and hand in hand with being able to listen actively. I don't think I need to go on about that, so because there's plenty of videos on my channel about that concept. But yes, see where they're coming from, acknowledge what they're saying, validate what they're saying, and also be attentive towards what they're saying, because you never know, you might learn something that you had, explore something that you had never come across before. Now, don't also hesitate to ask their sources and question its reliability. So, for example, I have a dog, and for me, I follow, one of my favorite creators, as you already know. He will be on this channel. I'll be interviewing him very soon, Dr. Amir. I take all my veterinary advice only from him. So I don't go on, I'm not saying that all the other veterinarians on Instagram and TikTok are not good, but he is obviously someone who is not only a relatable person, but he has also got a lot of expertise and he's got a lot of knowledge. And also he's very likable, according to me. So I don't go and follow a veterinarian just because of how they look or just because of they are filming their videos in a very very flashy and flamboyant way. He keeps it quite simple, but he's also entertaining and funny and informative, and those are the reasons why I take the account. So even though he is on TikTok and Instagram, it is from a reliable source because he is a proper veterinarian. And that is what you should also be asking your patients, that, where did you get this from? Is this from a credible or reliable source? Has it been peer reviewed? Has it been copyrighted or something like that? So whatever the case may be, and also just make it very clear to them that, just because this is an account that you saw on social media, it's not going to be always 100% reliable. Which brings me to the next point, that, ask them where their experience and their opinion and their viewpoint and perspective is coming from. Is it because, someone from their friend circle or their family member tried that approach that they are advocating for, or something like that? So say, for example, you might be a therapist, and say, you have a client who's come to you, and you want to incorporate talk therapy with them. And I remember seeing this post recently on LinkedIn, which I'm going to leave over here. And the client might say, my problems doesn't really suit the modality of talk therapy. I want to use one of these methods. So in this case, this obviously is from from not only a credible source, but you can also say, that client might say that, my family member who say had PTSD, they didn't go through talk therapy, they had something else which really worked for them. Now, I have a similar condition. It may not be PTSD, but it may be some sort of trauma condition that I'm experiencing, and I want to not do that type of therapy. I want to try this one, whatever it is that people in the trauma space work with. So when you have a credible source, that someone else has experienced it in the past, or someone that's known to them, or even they themselves have approached that, or they say to you that, the past methods with this particular healthcare professional didn't work with me, and I want to try something different now. So that should absolutely be acknowledged. And but also, there's no harm in questioning where it is that they're getting their sources from. You do that in a much more tactful manner. And very important to keep an open mind, which goes very well with active listening, and embrace whatever it is that the patient has to say, and also do your own research and come back to them with a more informed perspective, and be collaborative and explore options with them, not just be the doctors of back in the day, where they always, because they think they're an authority figure, you just do as they're told. It's a very different landscape now. So work together with them and hold your patients accountable. Again, plenty of videos and content that I talk about on here, and develop a framework and system by which you can make sure that they are monitoring that there's some sort of progress that's going on their end, and you're able to monitor that and give them feedback, and make it also a learning and professional development experience for yourself. And finally, let the patient have autonomy, but also make them aware of the consequences and any sort of risks that they might undergo. So in this case, you're obviously being transparent and honest about what may happen if they choose not to go with your method, that these are what you can expect, but you have to give them that full agency, but also make them aware that these are the risks that you can experience, but also leave it to their devices in that situation. Because what you don't want to do is push them to a point where it just becomes an unpleasant experience for everybody. So these are some of the ways in which, if you are, as a healthcare professional, challenged or questioned by your clients or your patients on your methods and practices, you can handle and navigate this in a much more positive, collaborative, and empowering way. To stay tuned for more content like this on how you as a healthcare professional can become a better communicator, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, the notification bell, leave this video a like, and your thoughts and comments in the description box below. And thank you very much for your time, attention, and presence, and I shall see you next week.